Hey, welcome to the OFFSITE INSIGHT Podcast. I'm Dave. Unfortunately, my co-host Dave can't be here today, but we're super excited. This episode is brought to you by the Creative Co-op. If you ever need any sort of marketing, come see Gino and the team. And we're super excited to have on with us today Chris Thompson from the TCCO, who's here to talk about AI and how that can impact your business in 2026. Chris, thank you so much for being here. Can you tell me a little bit about yourself?
Oh, thanks for having me. First off, it's weird to be on this side of the camera for once. So my name is Chris Thompson. I'm from the Creative Co-op. So we're an advertising and design studio here in Barrie. So we kind of do anything marketing related and advertising related. So, you're talking logo design and branding, and then I'm on the digital team, so we do websites, paid ads, social media, but we also do like packaging and trade show booths, and so yeah, basically anything. We have lots of print partners, lots of other companies we work with. So I was spoke anything advertising and marketing. Yeah, the whole package. Yeah, basically anything you need to get your brand out there. We try our best to make it happen. So.
Fantastic.
So I come from a web development background, kind of through the years made my way into marketing as a whole, from there, it's been nice to have the skill set of what the team does, so that as a manager, not only am I managing the projects, but I've had a lot of experience doing the actual production and stuff as well. So I can come at it from a slightly different perspective than I think some marketing managers do, because I have that development background, I have a bit of graphic design background.
Exactly. It's always important, especially in the trades too, like telling someone to do what to do when you haven't actually done it yourself can be very, very challenging. So it's good to have that technical background as well. So the discussion today, I think, is going to be shaped a lot around AI. So first off, how, in your perspective, because we've all heard of Gemini and ChatGPT, and from your perspective, how is AI reshaping marketing?
It's a tough conversation, because I feel like there's a lot of negativity and positivity, but a lot of negativity of people thinking that AI is replacing people's jobs, and I really, it's a tough conversation, because it is and it isn't. I think it's shifting what people's roles are in the marketing space. Before, a marketing team was everything, right? We would do the production, we would do the content development, we'd come up with the big ideas, and everything was done manually. Whereas what AI is allowing people to do, and how I think it's reshaping it, is it's allowing you I don't want to say a smaller team, because then it sounds like you're taking jobs away, but companies that didn't have a dedicated marketing department, because it does take a lot of work to do these things, they're able to do things quicker. I still think that you need somebody who understands marketing, who understands the intent behind what they're doing, that is going to put a human voice to the content. But what it allows you to do is allows you to get things done quicker, to come up with A/B testing and write content and help come up with that big idea, and spitball, brainstorming ideas, and generate the initial content much quicker.
Right.
So the wireframing and that idea finding and initial copywriting can get done very quickly with automation, with a lot of outside knowledge. Now, with that being said, you still need to understand how to use the tool, because we use it internally, and we've seen the difference between a very short form prompt versus a really well thought out prompt that gives the AI some sort of background knowledge as to the intent behind why you're doing it, some background behind the company, the marketing direction, the tone of voice for that copy. You really need to give it all of that stuff. And so that's where I think people are misunderstanding what AI is doing, because it doesn't have the ability to do all of that side of the thinking. You still need to give it the inside information. Sure, it can go to the internet, it can find information about your company, it can look at what other companies are doing, but it is it's AI, right? It's very computer oriented with the way it speaks. And so to have that humanized touch, and to have the understanding of the intent behind your marketing, the tone that you want it to have, the style of messaging, the brand voice really all comes from that prompt, and then taking what it spits out and working it. Like, it is very, very rare that I take something that AI has given me and just copy and paste it and use it. It is very much reading through it, changing the punctuation, adjusting the tone, giving it back and forth feedback. It's usually not the first prompt that it gives you, or the first result that from your prompt that it gives you that you're using. You're often, no, I don't like how you did this, and arguing with it and giving it more tone. And another thing too is upload documents, right? Like, if you've done stuff in the past, that it is able to use those tools. Exactly. And so again, to kind of come back to your original question, the way that I think it's reshaping it is it allows you to get a lot of those mundane tasks done very quickly, because you're able to sit in a boardroom and have those conversations with the team and come up with, this is the direction we want to go with, this is the tone, this is the demographic of the people we want to talk to, here's the audience, here's this and this. Now, instead of having to have a copywriter sit there for hours and type out, I don't like that, backspace, workshop it, you can come up with a bunch of ideas and you're able to trial things and get to that end product quicker. But it still takes a physical team to do that work. And so I think that's how it's reshaping it, is it's allowing you to do a lot more in a shorter time, because you're able to automate a lot of the mundane stuff.
Right. So it's not a replacement, it's another tool in your toolbox.
Absolutely.
Like, if I were to liken it to the construction industry, it was kind of like maybe I'm wrong, but it's kind of like the shift between a manual hammer and nail versus the advent of an air compressor and a nailing gun.
Absolutely.
Right? So you're allowed to you can do more things quicker, but you still need to operate it. And you still need to know where you're nailing, what pressure to apply, all of those things. You still need that.
Absolutely. I mean, you're coming at it from a builder perspective. I have come to this conversation and conversations about AI in the past from a technology perspective. Everybody in any industry had the same thought about personal computers when they came out, personal cell phones, the internet, Google as a whole. Like, these things, when they came out, there was the early adopters that saw the potential and what it was capable of, but then there was the old school mentality that were like, oh, it's just taking people's jobs, blah, 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 blah. But it opens new jobs. It forces a thought shift in any industry. And that's what AI is doing. And I think, there's other conversations about the environmental impact of AI and stuff like that that we can get into, but when it comes to actually taking people's jobs, I think there's definitely industries where there is jobs that are being cut because AI is able to replace it, but it's also opening up other jobs. Sure. When you're looking at it from a marketing perspective, for marketing agencies like TCCO or your marketing department at a company that you work for, I don't think that's the case. It allows smaller teams to do more because you're able to leverage your skill set to do the parts of the marketing that require the manual input.
The actual human thought and process and understanding. Like, you can, as you said, like, the prompts are only as good as the person writing the prompts. So you actually have to have that general marketing knowledge and skill set and background, and then also need to understand how to get the best input out of the generative AI model that you're using.
100%. And there's a million of them out there. So knowing which one to use for the use case as well, because they're all trained and good at different things. So anyways, we've gone a little bit off the original question, but that's where I think it's coming. And I think it's just educating people to allow them to understand what it's changing and not replacing, I think. And it's just, once you understand that side of things, you're able to use it as an employee, but you're not taking away the skilled employees that are actually coming up with those big ideas and things like that. You're basically, like you said, adding a tool in their toolbox so that ultimately they can do their job better, because what would have normally taken them maybe a week to come up with ABC testing for a digital ad or copy or write a blog, like the initial idea for a blog or something like that, they can churn that out in a matter of a couple minutes.
You're building capacity, right?
Exactly. Which I think is going to help anybody when it comes to marketing, because you're able to get a blog quicker, social media content quicker. You're able to kind of be agile and adapt to things without it taking days, weeks, months to do these tasks. Because you're able to, the manual legwork of copywriting, idea finding, and things like that can get done a lot quicker.
Yeah, so very cool. Now, if we switch gears a little bit, let's go more into the marketing and the branding. So what were the rules in 2025 or 2026, I guess now, that you think companies should be more aware of?
Yeah, I mean, this is a conversation that I think we've been starting to have for a while. I think a lot of people, when they think of branding, they think of just like, logos, copy, colors, like thinking of like the actual like branding. Like, do you have a logo? What is your what do your brochures look like? What is
what does brand mean?
Yeah, exactly. And I think obviously that's all still important.
Yeah.
But when I look at it, I try to look at this conversation. I mean, coming from an agency that does this on a regular basis, I think the biggest skill set that a marketing person can have is really putting themselves in the customer's shoes and like, what do they want to see? And sure, logos, colors, fonts, all that is important. But I think the branding in 2025 is really like how you show up in the space. So do you have all of the places that people would find you? So it's your website, your social media, your physical storefront, the signage. Maybe it's the bus shelter that you're doing advertising in, or doing advertising on. And depending on your demographic, the social media and all that stuff is going to be different. But it's how you show up across all of those platforms. Is the branding consistent? Is the communication clear? Right? And I think the shift, I mean, I think the biggest, it was when you saw something like TikTok take off, and Reels and Shorts and things like that. People's attention span, like they want answers, they want to know what you do and get in and out in a very short amount of time. And we see that if we start to talk about SEO and the metrics that we would look at from analytics. One of the biggest factors we used to look at was time on page, and that's not accurate anymore, right? It's more engagement, and it's, are people taking the actions you want to take? Some people are quick, some people want to get in and out in 2 minutes, some people might spend half an hour.
And there's still value in either of those scenarios as long as they're doing what you want them to.
Exactly. And so I think the change in 2025 with branding was more concise, powerful messaging to the point where everywhere you go it's consistent and it's very apparent very quickly what you do, and the vibe and tone that your business gives off is super important. And that's usually done with punchy headlines and those graphics. And then it comes back to the consistent branding and color and fonts and all that stuff. But everybody's going to find your company in a different way. And so it's ensuring that you're in the places that you need to be for the industry that you're in. I mean, there's some industries where Instagram makes no sense. There's other industries where TikTok makes no sense. There's other industries where you really should be focusing on LinkedIn. There's others that doesn't make any sense. And then some agents or some companies are going to really, really benefit from a billboard or a bus wrap or whatever. And then there's others that aren't going to get a lot of value out of those things. So it's really understanding where you need to be. And coming up with that clear messaging, that consistency, and then the old school branding style, obviously, but it's being mindful with what you do. I think a lot of times people react to trends, people react to, this company's doing this, and sure, you can follow those things, but does that make sense for your brand and your branding
and who you're trying to talk to, I guess.
Absolutely, yeah. And so I think when it comes to AI too, the shift in that is things tend to start to sound not human when you just fully dive into the AI side. And so I think the big thing is making sure that you feel like a person, right? Like people don't want to work with, it's changing. People don't want to work with big established brands that feel corporate. They want to feel they want that personal, like mom and pop feel. Even if the company is big, it's really, I mean, I think a great example is like a lot of banking. You see those commercials where it's very like one-on-one hand-holding.
We want you to know that we care about you.
Exactly. And I think that's what's speaking with people really well right now. So I think it's, when it comes to the AI, is making sure it feels human, making sure it really speaks to the customer and showcases that personal, like feel-good moment with them. And so I think the branding is all about making sure that you capture that, you capture the essence of the brand, but that you're hitting it in the right spots. There's the consistency behind it. and then it doesn't feel like it was just thrown into an AI generator and spit out by somebody who, I don't need a marketing department, I just punch this into ChatGPT and we're good to go.
And I think people are now becoming more and more aware of the classic telltale sense of, oh, this is strictly generative AI. And that, like, to me, I think if I'm seeing that, oh, this wasn't written by a human, I'm quicker to move on to the next thing. Right? I think more and more people are becoming more aware of, they haven't taken the time to actually massage this and make it a real message. So it's almost a turn off, right? Think about it. Very, very cool. So what would you say now, like, we'll get into branding as a whole, maybe, or marketing as a whole, like, what do you think the biggest mistakes someone maybe in the home building industry might be making for their marketing?
I mean, when it comes to AI, I feel like the big thing is that people feel like, oh, like I can just go to ChatGPT, I can just type in a prompt, it's just gonna fix everything for me. I can just go, here's my problems, fix everything, copy, paste, done. And I don't think that that's the right way to look at it. And the other thing too is I think a lot of times people are like, oh, I just need more content. I just need to put out some more blog posts, more social media, more this, more that, and something like ChatGPT can help you do that really quickly. And sure, there's merit in more content. But you need to be intentful and like with what that content is and why it's being put out. And so I think the biggest mistake is just doing things for the sake of doing things. And I think that this comes back to something I try to iterate a lot when in this conversation and in conversations with our clients, is there needs to be a lot of intent behind with what you're doing. And I think that that's the biggest issue with, I mean, it's been a big issue for a while, but the biggest issue with an AI shift is that people are able to just spit out copy for the sake of spitting out copy because they feel like that, oh, I just need to do stuff. It doesn't matter what it is, I just need to be in the space. And I think, and I don't think that, I mean, there is some merit in it, but I don't think that that's the right mentality to have. I think, yes, you need consistent content. Yes, you need to be engaging with your customers on a regular basis, but the cadence of that is totally industry dependent, right? Like there's certain, like for example, like you say your doctor, you're going to follow your doctor on social media, right? And if they do have a social media account, it's going to be to, showcase some pictures of their space and maybe the services that they offer, and they're using it more of as a portfolio. They're not actively making daily posts about stuff and things like that. I mean, you can find some directions with that, but then there's industries where daily posting is necessary and required, and but then there's industries where maybe once every 2 weeks is enough, and just to kind of stay relevant, once a month, and so it's really just understanding why you need the content, and then using the tools to help you get to what that end result is, like helps you write the content, and then you massage it, things like that. But I think the big mistake is people think that AI is just going to fix everything. It's just going to dump out content. It's going to give me all my answers.
Just like a shotgun approach. Like, oh, if I just shoot it out there, I'm going to be successful. But I think what I'm hearing is you need to be a little bit more intentional and targeted. Like, understand where your client base may be. Understand the messages that are important to them, and then use the tool to get that done effectively, efficiently.
And I think the fear in people is that if they're not doing things, then they're falling behind. But I think the opposite is also true, where if you're doing too much and it's not intentful and you're getting annoying and repetitive and just pumping out content that doesn't make a lot of sense for your business, you have, especially when it comes to AI, you have a higher chance of maybe offending somebody with your messaging, or annoying people, being like, why are they posting the same stuff every day? Like, I don't need to see this brand on my Facebook and Instagram and TikTok and an ad and then blah, blah, blah. And then you get turned off from the business from that side. So there's two sides to that story. And I think that this is where it really comes, making sure that, and you need to have somebody who understands marketing. Still. You can't just use AI to just tell me what to do, give me content, push it in it there because I need to do things. You still need to understand the customer. You still need to understand why you're doing what you're doing, why you're in the channels that you're in, the cadence, your audience. What is your audience looking for? What does your ideal customer look like? and how do they want to be marketed to,
Right.
and then you can use the tools available to you, whether it be doing your research on Google or talking to your colleagues or your other people, or using AI to help generate that content. And then you still need to take a look at it and massage it, making sure that it's putting messaging out there in a way that makes sense for what you're trying to achieve and the messaging that you're trying to do, and then really thinking about what that cadence looks like and the channels and what you're getting into. So yeah.
I mean, it sounds like there's still, the knowledge set is still required. Like generative AI is very helpful, but you still have to understand what it is you're trying to do.
Absolutely. I mean, you can give it prompts and get it to come at it in that way with understanding how AI works and giving it the prompts. But again, like it's just going to use the information that you fed it or told it to look at, and you still need to credit check what it says. Because
you can still hallucinate.
Yeah, exactly. But also to you still need to bring it back to what the essence of the brand is, and AI. I mean, it may get there, but right now it's not. It's just using what you feed it and what it pulls off of your own website. Most of the time, if you're trying to do marketing for your own brand, that's where you exist, is your own copy.
Yeah.
So you had to have done marketing already for it to know something about you to be able to generate more copy for you.
So there's a chance if you're putting in, let's say your copy at the beginning wasn't very good, and that's what the generative AI is using, the copy that's coming out is still not going to be very good.
Or if all of your marketing is AI generated, it's literally just rinse and repeating its own information.
Right.
If you're not vetting what it's doing, the direction that it can take your brand without you
really knowing
is, and that's where I think it really comes back to, why are you doing what you're doing? What is the tone that you want to be perceived? What is your personality as a brand? How do you want to be perceived? And everything that it gives you, you need to take a look at as a human
and understand it, understand the purposes of it.
Absolutely.
I think that's easy for someone who maybe doesn't fully understand what their own brand is, what the marketing looks like, to use ChatGPT and get themselves into some trouble.
Absolutely.
So what do you think here in 2026, what should businesses, especially in the home building industry, prioritize as they look towards this year? I mean, it's January still, we got 11 months left. What should they be prioritizing?
I mean, we can come back to the roots of what branding and marketing is, and I think especially in the building space, I feel like there's a lot of key things that aren't happening, and we see this a lot with clients and just people we talk to, is making sure you do the main things right. You want a good website, you want to be in the right social media spaces, whether it be LinkedIn, Facebook, TikTok, Instagram, whatever it is. You want to make sure that you're in those spaces. You want to make sure that you have a good website. You want to make sure that your branding is consistent. So I think you need to make sure that all of that is in place first.
Right.
So if you're not there, if you feel like your branding and your marketing efforts are kind of fragmented, or, we can do that, we don't need to do that yet, we're relying on word of mouth or whatever.
Sure,
the consistency needs to be there. And that comes right down to, if you're a builder that does do well off of, on-site advertising and stuff, that still needs to match the rest of your brand, right? The signage that you put out front of needs to have a high quality logo on it. It needs to have, and it also, does it work? Having a trackable QR code on it or something, so that people made it to your website from that signage. So making sure that you're doing all of that correctly, I think, is the main thing people need to prioritize first, is getting the foundation in place. Once you have that in place, then we can start to expand from there. So that's going to be things like making sure that the customer you already work with are being collected and stored in a way that you can advertise to them again. Because repeating business and referrals and things like that are always going to be the long-term success of your business. A one-time customer, depending on the industry, a one-time customer is great in the moment, but somebody who's going to trust what you do and come back and refer a friend and refer a family and keep you top of mind, that lifetime customer is far more important.
Absolutely, and it's much cheaper to keep a client than to get a new one.
Absolutely.
Right? So it's really important to stay in touch.
So I think investing in a CRM or some sort of email list where you're actually storing your customer information and actively engaging with them, whether it be through email, newsletter, or using that as a retargeting list to run an ad campaign. Like when you set up ads, you're able to kind of give it the model of who your customer is, that it knows who to target. And the more information that you can provide your marketing team, the agency you work with, the ad specialist that you're working with, the more information you can provide them about who your current customer is, the better you can advertise to your future customers. So put all the branding in place, make sure you have a good website, make sure your branding is consistent, you have high-res logos so that if you do the advertising stuff you want, you have the files to give to the people. We run into that a lot where people are like, I don't know, swing me in my logo. Here, I have a low quality JPEG, a white background, and just make it work. And so making sure you have all that stuff, that you have, what is your branding? What are fonts you're using? So that you're consistent. But then also making sure that you have your customer base in line so that you can reuse that information, whether to advertise directly to them or use them to come up with the targeting for the future advertising. But then making sure from there that you've done all the basics right. Now you're creating new content, and that future, the blog, the knowledge center, the social content, all of that stuff is then done after that. Because you don't want to start doing the outgoing marketing, like the pamphlets that you're going to mail out, or the email newsletters, or writing blogs, or putting out social content that's fragmented and the advertising and the branding is inconsistent. Right? You want to make sure you have it in place so that when you start to do things, you're happy with the direction it's going. You like the look and feel of it. We run into issues all the time where clients will come to us and we fix their branding and we start to do stuff, and then they're like, oh, well, now my old stuff doesn't look great. And then they're like, can you go back and archive these posts on Instagram or whatever? Or can you post enough that gets pushed down? Whereas you don't want to just do marketing for the sake of marketing. And so I think you need to make sure that you have everything in place. That when you do the marketing, it's intentful, it looks right, it feels right, it's consistent, it really speaks to the person you're trying to speak to, and then you can build off that foundation. I mean, people are going to go through rebranding, people are going to go through color shifts, whatever, logo shifts, messaging shifts, depending on the industry, whatever is going on. And that's going to change over time. But you need to make sure that I think the prioritization is to be making sure the foundation and the basics are done well, and then start to do the intentful outreach into, whether it be blogs or social content or TV ads or whatever it is. And AI can help you model what that path looks like and help you come up with that content, but you still need to sit down in a boardroom, talk to the owners, talk to your colleagues, your marketing team, whatever. What do we want to do? How do we want to be perceived? And prioritizing all of that first, I think, is the most important.
So it sounds to me like you want to make sure that the customer's experience is very consistent. Like if you were to have this great social media content and it pulls them in and they come to the website and it looks terrible, they're like, oh, what was that? Right? So you need to make sure that you've got great social media content, and where they're going next to interact with your business is also great.
Absolutely.
And it also makes sense, and it's the same tone of voice, and the brand is consistent.
I mean, I'm sure you found it yourself where you get served an ad and you're like, oh, that might be interesting to me. You click on it and then it goes somewhere and you're like, this isn't what I just clicked on. Like, I wanted this product. Why didn't it go to there? And then you go to and as soon as you have that friction, you're gone. Right. And so it's again, being mindful about the little things, like where do your social media accounts point to? Where does your ad go? Does the landing page that it takes you to make sense? I mean, we could go on for hours about all this stuff, but it's that you're not just doing things for the sake of doing things. You're doing things intentfully, and you're really thinking about the customer experience, the user journey, the flow of it all, and does it make sense with that foundation that you've established? And does that tone and personality come across the whole?
And this comes back to, you almost need a human to understand that process. And that's the limitation in some ways of where if you don't have that human intervening into the process to review it, AI isn't really going to understand how that all connects back to the brand.
It's just generating content. You told them to generate content.
Exactly. All right, Chris. Well, I think that was an amazing discussion. I think we nailed it, actually. So thanks again for coming on and telling us all about AI. I mean, you seems like something that you have used as a tool now, and the TCCO uses as a tool, but you still have that expertise in the background to help that tool be effective, especially for clients. And I know home builders some have a great reputation, some don't. Everyone can improve on their branding, their marketing, their advertising. So if that's the case, come see Chris at the TCCO. One last thing, if you'd like to join the podcast as a guest, please reach out to podcast@schba.ca. I think we nailed it.
Yeah, awesome.
Thanks
so much for having me.
Thanks again, Chris. Appreciate it.